What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here with a very special guest, Bobby Biceps.
That's Beef Cannon Bobby to you.
Oh, Beef Cannon.
Beef Cannon
We're upgrading it. How you doing, man?
So far, so good, bro.
Because we're talking all about arm training, the ultimate arm training for natural lifters. You know, Paris has a fantastic channel. If you're not subscribed to it, you should be. We've been training lately, and people have been fixated, fascinated. I'm gonna give you a compliment. I think your physique, like I said, overall is really good, but I think you have a really good back. Like, I think you have different parts of your physique that are underrated, but people are like, yo, he's got biceps. Like, how do you get some biceps? His arms still like 18 inches. Like, how do you do that? And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna explain how to do it. It's become a fixation in the community, but maybe let's make this the ultimate arm guide for naturals. What do they need to do in order to make progress?
Let's talk about arms to become a Beef Cannon Bobby yourself at home. Start off with doing something. A lot of people in their training, I'd hate to say that they don't do their arm workouts, but they kind of phone them in. Maybe they're doing heavy bench press or whatever else in their program, and they put all their energy into that, and they don't put the same energy into like their push downs or whatever your weapon of choice is. So that's the first thing. I don't know about you.
No, that makes complete sense, man. But what I do like, Paris, you're low-key, you're very methodical with your approach to training. So for a natural lifter, what does it look like movement-wise, or how do they have to conceptualize it?
So fellas, I have, despite Omar's praises that he's singing me, I'm very thorough with my training. He says, I have a caveman brain. So I need to take what I'm doing and simplify it so that it makes sense to me. So we all can relate to pushing hard on bench press or whatever your favorite exercise is. We all have one. Mine is pull-ups. Y'all let me know what yours is in the comments maybe. But take that mindset that you put in with your favorite exercise and put it with your arms. So for me, I have a really thorough, I guess we could put it, progression model that I make with compound movements. I just try to think of the bicep curl, whatever tricep exercise I'm doing, as something similar to that strength exercise. So I have my, we'll call it performance metrics. That's a gigabrain way of saying, like, look, I better be getting better with reps, and I dang sure better be getting better with the weight that I'm using on these arm exercises, zoomed out over a long period of time. So getting better to preacher curls, whatever the case may be.
The weight you're lifting is then correlated to your arm size. What are the different then components of arm training for you? So like, how do you break it down?
So that's an excellent question, and this is going to be really valuable, so y'all definitely pay attention to this part. For me, I like to structure the bicep training very simple. We have something that stretches the bicep. That's what I do anyway. You try that first and then do something that works like another part of your bicep. So today we did the reverse curls. It could be hammer curls after like a preacher curl or incline curl or something like that. But you start with the stretch curl and you go with like a curl that ain't a stretch curl, just to have that holistic development, because it's not just the bicep, it's the brachialis as well, and we want to develop that. Also the forearm too. That's actually what we were blasting today on the freaking reverse curls. I was like, look, man, we're gonna go back and forth, set the bar down. You do the press downs, we'll do the reverse curls, and it was really high reps, and we got a massive pump. So that's how I like to break down the bicep stuff, all jokes aside. And then with triceps, it's also simple as well. So I like to have something overhead, or maybe something like a lying tricep extension, something like that. And then we also will either follow that up, or maybe if you have elbows that don't feel the best, like you have a little elbow tingle going on now, you can do the press downs first just to warm up. But just make sure you have both generally. Doesn't have to be always 3 sets or like a ton of volume at first if you're not used to combining the exercises like that. But just make sure you do them both so you get used to doing it, and then you can add your sets over time as you get used to it.
Well, Paris, I like how for you, I would say that arm training isn't like an accessory, it's not secondary, it's the main thing, the main attraction. And that's why, once again, you've made considerable progress, not only in terms of the size, but the numbers that are being lifted. So the two are related.
Absolutely.
What's your volume approach?
Whatever it takes to make sure that that number goes up, zoomed out over time, is the amount of volume that you should be doing. If you're doing, just for our example, 2 sets of reverse curls, 2 sets of preacher curls, you're getting stronger with that, that's ultimately what's gonna make you bigger, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So why do 5 sets of those each? There's no point in it, but like, why are we doing that? We wanna use volume as a dial, which is just a way of saying, like, use it as something to increase the intensity in our training, to get stronger and not to just do it. If that makes sense, fellas.
Yep. And then is it the same approach, Paris, as it relates to frequency, where frequency is a tool? You think about the total amount of movements or sets you want to do in the week. Is that kind of what frequency is for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know for me, I train my arms like full blown arm days, 3 days per week. But that's also because I've worked up to doing that, and that's what I need to do to progress in my training. The frequency is just like practice at this point. Fellas at home, if you do a lot of squatting, deadlifting, benching, you know that the more often that you practice that, the better that you get at that, and the more efficient you are at it, the more weight you can lift. And as we said, that's an important facet of getting bigger arms or bigger anything.
Let's review. So you have a high volume, basically, of training directed towards specific muscle groups. You also ensure that you're training them through different ranges of motion or different exercise choices and different angles, so like the overhead tricep, and then also the weight you've used over time, so just simply the mechanical tension keeps increasing.
Absolutely.
Like the weight you're using is quite high. In terms of compound movements, like we opened up today as an example, some bench press prior to doing arm training. What's the role of compound movements, in your opinion, in terms of facilitating bigger arms?
This might be a hot take, honestly, but I feel like a properly performed bench press through a good range of motion does contribute to your tricep size. It's like, no duh, it's like if you chopped off your triceps like cadaver mode and you just didn't have them anymore, you would lift substantially less weight on the bench press. So therefore it would have to then work it a lot. Now it won't do everything that you need to get the biggest triceps possible, but it still is something that we need to take into account. So today we opened up with the camber bar bench press. Really good on the pecs, but the really big range of motion also stretches parts of your triceps a lot. So going into our isolation, we had done some work already that was moving the needle forward for everything.
What are some final takeaways for people that finally want big arms and they're ready, I would say, to dedicate the amount of time necessary in order for them to grow?
The exercise that you try really hard at that's still doing what you need it to, do that one, as opposed to doing one that might be better on paper. I think we could agree, try harder at something you actually like, you're gonna get better results. So for me, I really like preacher curls. I really like overhead extensions. I like the V-bar press downs. Those are like, off the top of my head, 3 ones that I really use as metrics. Oh, incline curls as well. John Meadows actually had a video where he showed us how to do them on a lat pull down. I've been doing the curls on that as well. So those are some key lifts that I center my progression, and I'm like, okay, if I don't get stronger at these by the end of the year, I don't know what I'm doing, bro, but I'm doing something wrong, right?
Man, RIP John Meadows. All that made a ton of sense. Paris, give some anecdotes now to give the people hope. Keep hope alive here.
I coach a few people now that have over 18-inch arms at this point, just through getting better at the arm isolation and getting better at the compound movements as well. And I'll tell you what, I started off my isolation, like my tricep extensions were substantially weaker than they are now, about 2 years ago. So before about 2 years ago, we're talking like strict tricep extensions. I don't know how y'all do them, but I typically don't pull over into them to like get the lats involved. So it's all tricep. But I went from using 80 pounds to now, I think my best set of 8 was with buck 45. That's almost twice as much, you know what I'm saying? It's shown in like the density of my muscle size as well, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I think for a lot of people, it's all about putting to the forefront that which you want to grow. The big back, like it takes a lot of work.
Thank you.
I would say like big legs is just something like it takes the most amount of work.
Absolutely.
There's a genetic component, but would you agree? And I'm talking, hey, we talk from the knee up around here because we have high calf insertion. But I mean like big quads, big hamstrings, big glutes, is that the next goal for you?
Absolutely. So that's what we're maybe going to talk about a little bit more, maybe in a future installment next time on Dragon Ball Z.
On Ultimate Dragon Ball Z. Okay, fantastic, bro. Just amazing having you on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed to his channel. Anything you want to say in closing?
I'm having a great time. Let's go back to the gym.
Not said under direct, like behind us, there's a we've been kidnapped and we're forced to make perpetual content.
Yeah, I'm winking, help me.
There's fantastic. Make sure you're subscribed to his channel. Thank you so much for watching another video. If you like the video, make sure to like the damn video. And I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace. It's amazing.
Pump just feels like I'm in the gym. When I get a gnarly bicep pump, it feels exactly like
I'm day, I'm night, I'm in my sleep. I can't stop. I'm coming.
when I take creatine, when I put food in my mouth, I'm when I go to the gym, I'm getting the biggest goddamn pump of my life. And you know what? I'm again. Where's Paris? Sorry, fellas. It took me so long to come.
Rascal Retro Tanks and Stringers. They'll have you feeling like you're in the gym.
It feels fantastic. So, I'm in heaven.